Hi, this is Dr. Paul with Chiropractic Personal Injury Marketing, and this is how to increase your chiropractic practice annual income over $100,000. And we do that with only 16 personal injury attorney mailings. And this is essentially how it works. Now, the considerations are to go over $100,000 annually. We're going to take the personal injury case, the average case, we're going to put that at $3,000. And you can increase that or decrease according to your case values. Now, if you put it at $3,000 and you're shooting for $100,000, you only need 2.77 personal injury attorney monthly referrals. Only 2.77. That's all you need. Now, this is how it works. We start with a list of 16 personal injury attorneys. Now, there's what's called A, B, and C attorneys. It's the C category of personal injury attorneys that's the best target market, and it's the easiest to get referrals from. Now, so we start with 16. That's the number of personal injury attorney mailings. Now, this is the 6-step personal injury attorney educational sales campaign. These are the psychological steps. So remember, we have a target market, these attorneys who do not think that chiropractors would be beneficial to their case. So there is no perceived need. So we have to take them through these psychological steps to establish the need. And it's called a campaign because it's multiple steps. It's not just one thing. So it's multiple steps because we have to shift. We have to do what's called a paradigm shift to go from what's called unconscious incompetence, something they don't know that they need, to getting them to see that they need it. And so we do that. We start with attention, then we want to move them to interest, then we move them to desire, and then action. So these are the steps that the marketing is going to do. Now, the 6-step personal injury attorney educational sales campaign. So we start with publicity. Now, publicity is used to stir attention and interest. So we'll use publicity first, then we'll use it a second time. Now, the third component will actually be an advertisement. An advertisement is used to increase interest and desire. And then from there, we'll follow up with a phone call, fax. That also increases the interest and desire. And that's followed up with a phone call for the meeting. Now, you will get the meeting because now there's interest and desire. If you did not do this and you try to schedule a meeting, there's a good chance you will not even get the meeting because there's no interest. And then we do the personal injury attorney educational sales meeting. And the result is referrals. That's the action step. So that's what happens. So when you look at it, and what happens is we take our 16 attorneys. Week 1, they get, we mail the first press release. The next week, we mail press release number 2. Then week 3, we mail the advertisement letter. So there's a letter with advertisement, and it actually has a link to a video. Now that video has the components of advertising. That's what increases desire. And then week 4 is a phone call, send fax. And then the next day is a phone call to set up the meeting. Now this is very specific and it's all laid out. And we want to set the meeting up within 1 or 2 weeks. So by week 5 or 6, we now are sitting in front of the attorney who had no intentions on meeting with us. And now he already has an awareness and interest and desire. Now to get him to refer, we've got to get him to the action step. And the only way you can do that is by educational sales. Publicity and advertising will not do it. And so now we apply the PI Attorney Educational Sales presentation, and over 50% of the time, we will get referrals on the spot, 50% of the time. So if you look at the percent of PI attorneys who will schedule after the meeting, or after the marketing, is 70%. So not 100% of them will schedule a meeting. It's about, the statistics that my clients get are about 70%. So if you took 70% of those 16 attorneys, that turns out to 11.2 PI attorney meetings that are scheduled. Now, 50% of the time, the attorneys will cancel the meeting. And it has nothing to do with the subject. It's just that's how their schedule runs. And they get called into court, and they got to file papers and things like that. So this is just how, this is their industry. So if you take 50% of the 11.2, and let's say those meetings don't happen, now we have 5.6 PI attorneys that will make the meeting. Now, the 50% that did not make the meeting, they're just rescheduled. That's all. It's no big deal. But let's leave them out. So let's say 50% of them canceled. So out of 11.2, we now have 5.6 meetings with attorneys. Now, the percent of attorneys who refer on the first PI attorney educational sales presentation is over 50% with my personal injury attorney educational sales presentation. So when you actually give and go through the PI attorney presentation, it's called an educational sales presentation. There's over a 50% chance that you're going to get a referral on the spot. So if you take 50% of the potential 5.6 meetings, that's 2.8. Now remember, if you have 2.8 referrals, remember we only needed 2.77. So if you're getting at least one referral per attorney PI presentation, you had so that's 2.8 referrals. And if your case average was $3,000 a case, that comes out to $8,400 a month, or you've increased your annual income over $108,000. Now remember, those referrals will continue as long as you produce. In other words, you give the proper documentation that supports their injury claim. Now, if you do not know that and you don't do it, then you will not get their continuing referrals. So this is how you increase your annual income over $100,000 from only 16 personal injury attorney mailings. And those are the exact stats that will increase your annual income using the numbers I just showed you, $108,000. Now, what is also powerful about that number, $108,000, is typically that's after your fixed expenses have been paid, which is typically space, labor, and equipment. So what does that mean? It means 97% of that $108,000 is profit. 97%, because your overhead has already been paid, essentially. So again, I'm Dr. Paul with Chiropractic Personal Injury Marketing, and you can go there to see how all the marketing programs work. We have about 10 marketing systems for personal injury, not just personal injury attorneys, but personal injury for chiropractors. Go to chiropracticpersonalinjurymarketing.com.